Yeah, it's a very wet Thursday evening, but that doesn't stop the action because in sports, the action never stops, never quits, and it is always all-encompassing, no matter where in the world that you are, because that is exactly what sports does. It breaks all boundaries, breaks every single barrier, and it is always there for you, no matter where you are. Hello and welcome to the Thursday night edition of Game On here on News Central Television. My name is Babatunde Koiki. We welcome you very warmly. I don't know what part of the world that you are in, but we promise you the next 1 hour is going to be absolutely packed. Of course, you know that the Super Eagles of Nigeria are currently looking forward to hosting the Bafana Bafana of South Africa. Tomorrow at the Godzilla Kpabio Stadium, we'll be reaching out to Onyinye Obaro in Uyo, who's been tracking everything that has been happening around the team and, of course, around the Bafana Bafana, who have arrived in Uyo already. Both coaches talking tough. Even the president of Nigeria Football Federation are also talking tough as well. It's going to be a really, really packed show. And, of course, there's still other sports to look forward to as well. Not forgetting that the European Championship starts in just a few days and a few countries have already released their final squad of 26. And there are also FIFA World Cup qualifiers going on across Africa now as we speak. We'll be bringing you updates of those particular games as they progress. But I'm not doing the show alone. It's a three-man show tonight. Beside me, to my immediate right, is the former media officer of the Super Eagles of Nigeria and a former senior special assistant to the former Minister of Sports Development. I'm talking about none other than experienced journalist extraordinaire, one of our favorite people on this show and elsewhere. I'm talking about Toyin Ibitoyi. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Toyin, I'm sure right now I'm sure right now you could probably be in reminiscent mode. Big game tomorrow, everything to play for, camp full of players who are ready to go, journalists looking for exclusives, a coach who is also worrying about his first 11. I'm sure you can
absolutely.
You can
reminiscing about
those
that.
Days. Yeah.
I mean, it feels like a player. Who has stopped playing, but still has a lot of his friends playing in the team.
In active football, yeah.
And then he remembers how they prepare and the mood before match.
What is usually the mood like in a camp at this time?
Let me give you a little story about Amadou Shuaibu, late Amadou Shuaibu. I mean, we became very close towards the end of his life. He said something that I hold on to. So every time there's a key game coming up, he says, on match day, eat very well in the morning. Eat very well. In fact, if you can take extra, take extra.
Wait, in the morning?
In the morning of your match day.
Okay.
Because you don't know when your next meal will come. Because it will depend on what happens during the game. You may find yourself in the barracks. You may find yourself locked up somewhere, and you don't know where you're
running for your life.
So that's So eat very well in the build-up to the game, because on the day of the game, you cannot predict whatever would happen.
Isn't that counterproductive? Can't you be too heavy when you match
No, I mean, he's not playing, but he knows that he needs the energy. So he doesn't know for how long he will need to keep the reserve that is taken in, because the outcome of the game could decide a whole lot.
So did you take advice?
But on a more practical side, you do all that you want to do match day. They call it MD1, match day -1, the day before the game. So you cross the T's, you dot the I's, you prepare yourself in the best way possible. And for the coaches, this is a time to tweak their plans and build up towards that game. A lot happens on a day like this. You are psyching up your players, are making them to think about the game, but not overthink. Because there are two ways to it. The game is going to be played at 8 p.m. Nigerian time, so you still have a whole lot of time to prepare.
From morning to afternoon
and know
to
how
evening.
to tune them up so that they are at their peak just at game time. And then they give everything 100% on the pitch and come back to zero to load again for the other game that they have next week. So it's always a lot of fun. I mean, looking at those boys training, looking at this pitch, I mean, I was just remembering those days,
again,
how we prepare, how you try to see if anybody can get an inkling into what your opponents are planning, what their last training sessions are like, all of those things. That's what happens on the eve of a game. But the most important thing is hoping that you have the luck of the green, the good drop of the green on match day. Because on a football game, everything could go right,
everything could go wrong. Like the weather, for instance, here has been raining cats and dogs in Uyo. And every time it rains heavily in this part of Nigeria, we like to call it an equalizer. It's pretty much what we call worry football. There is no advantage to either team, and it could pretty much go either way.
But the good thing is that the stadium is a fantastic pitch. It drains, the water goes down, so you are still able to play free-flowing football. Unless it pours too much, then you are not able to play the game anymore.
So we're just hoping that the Super Eagles handlers, the Nigeria Football Federation, engage the best trained doctors that they can find in that part of the country. Well, Favour Itwa is also here as well. Favour, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Looking forward to a great game. But gentlemen, just keep this in mind. I will be asking you, who do you think about your starting 11s ahead of this game? Also coaches are Tony, you've been there, done that as well, so you also have an insight. I'll be also asking you.
Tony was talking about something in his days as the Super Eagles media officer.
Were you a media officer too?
It was always there on the youth.
So I also remember he has a pre-match ritual. There's a particular kind of fruit and snack he likes taking.
Granite
and garnier. So if you want to get him, just give him that. That's all.
Just bring it. And he brings a whole lot of granite and garden egg to my load me with it so that you are ready for the game.
Wow, okay. So in other words, you're actually taking Shoaib Amodu's advice.
Yes.
Loading as heavily as possible.
As heavily as possible. Yeah.
Okay, let's quickly get to the other sports before we get to football. Plenty to talk about tonight. We'll also be having a guest joining us as well. But let's start with some athletics where Team Nigeria's brilliant 2024 continues after they finished top of the medal table at the CAA Region 2 Championships in Accra, Ghana. The athletics event was the regional championship organized by the CAA with 9 countries on parade. And after a week of keenly contested events, Team Nigeria finished on top of the table with 18 medals. That's 13 gold medals, 4 silver and 1 bronze. Host Ghana finished in second place with 23 medals, 8 gold medals, 9 silver and 6 bronze medals, while Burkina Faso occupied the third spot with 15 medals as well. So Nigeria looking really good ahead of the African Championships that will be coming up in Cameroon later this month, I believe. Yeah, so that's also another competition. But you look at how Nigeria has performed creditably well, of course, at the Africa Games that happened earlier this year, also in Accra, also at this competition as well. Not forgetting the MOC Grand Prix that took place here in Lagos as well. Nigerian athletes doing pretty well. But there are still those who are hoping, praying that they can make it onto the plane to Paris. And don't forget that the deadline for qualification for the Olympic Games is the 30th of this month. And the national trials will also be holding this month in Benin City as well. So it's pretty much last chance to alone.
Yes, of course. I'm particularly happy about the Nigerian home-based athletes. The CAA was an opportunity for them to also go show themselves and see if they could qualify. The likes of Justina, not also forgetting the lady we interviewed about some weeks ago.
Yeah,
she finished second in the 100 meters race.
First, second.
And Justina also took the gold medal position. And particularly, our long-distance runner, or the likes of the 400 and the 800,
Emmanuel Ojeli in the men's 400 meters as well.
They're doing something incredible at the moment, and that's to show that we're really doing something in the Nigerian scene. Not forgetting also Prestina Ochonogo. She also did well in the long jump, so it shows that in the next few years you have someone take over from Ese Brume, and not forgetting the other lady, I'm trying to remember her name, also in long jump. So it was a very good avenue for Nigeria to show themselves. But I'm particular enough about the 4x4. I mean, don't forget, they're currently 16th in the rankings. And if any country runs a better time, means that the 4x4 women may not go to the Olympics, although they have the national trials and they have the Senior Athletics Championships in Cameroon. But in all, our athletes are doing well at this time. Even the foreign-based athletes, there's an NCAA going on tonight, got in Brume and the likes will also be running. So it shows you that it's going to be a big headache for the country to decide who would even do the 4x1, who would do the 4x1 women. And it's really interesting to know that we all have athletes doing well at the moment.
Yeah, Ushori Shekiri also ran a sub-10 for the first time in his career recently as well, but unfortunately it was not the legal time. The legal time that allowed is a plus 2.0, but I think he was actually 2.1. Which is actually, but Tony, you get the impression that national trials in Benin is going to be explosive.
Yeah, absolutely. The lady you're trying to remember is Ruth Soro.
Ruth Soro.
Yeah, pretty young, but I mean, she's beginning to gain a lot of experience. I'm happy, as Favour said, about the quality of the home-based athletes. And that's how it should be. You should be able to count on the number of athletes from home who can give the foreign-based athletes a good run for their money and give us depth in squad. I mean, in our relays, which is why I'm happy for Emmanuel Ojeli, for example, trying to break into the 4x4 relay team with some of them running personal best, season's best. So it's really encouraging. When you remember also that Nigeria is featuring in a whole lot of relays at the Olympics.
Yeah, men's 4x100, women's 4x100, men's 4x400, women's 4x400, mixed as well.
Absolutely. So this is what builds up the quality of the team as you head to the trials. People are trying to break into the team, and the coaches are looking at who has a good time, who can run better than what we already have on the ground, and make our team stronger.
But you get the impression that the relays actually are very key for
Very,
Nigeria.
very key.
Because in the history of the Olympics, Nigeria has won 23 medals. 7 of them have come from the relays.
Yeah, very key. So I'm happy that Shekiri had a sub-10 for the first time. And when you look at the number of these young athletes who are running sub-10, then you know that the future is bright for us. Whether it comes for us at these Olympics, it's a different thing. You know, at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, our young boys were able to snatch a bronze medal. So it's good to build up on this confidence level of the boys and then get young athletes who are running well, who are picking at the right time for the Olympics, and then we can start talking of gate crashing with a bit of luck. Once you are able to get into the finals in the relays, then you have a chance of getting something out of it.
In the wise words of a certain gentleman, he says, once you can be a contender, you can actually be a winner. Just get to the final, and anything and everything is possible. So congratulations to Team Nigeria athletics team, who also did brilliantly. They just concluded CAA Zone 2 championships in Accra, winning that competition and doing pretty well as well. We're hoping to get DG Aliu, former Olympic bronze medalist, on this show very, very soon. He's also a key member of Nigeria's relay squad coaching team. He's also, a lot of people have credited him as being one of the key masterminds behind Nigeria's recent resurgence in the relays. We'll be hoping to get him on the show pretty soon. Let's leave athletics behind and let's move on to Scrabble. Yeah, it's actually a sport. And the Egbele annual Scrabble tournament, tagged the 4th dimension, has been scheduled for the 7th to the 8th of June here in Lagos. The tournament has been recognized for its progressive contribution to the development of the mind game through top-notch organizational prowess and a forward-looking approach to Scrabble. After Dokuenson's amazing rise from the ashes in the first edition in 2021, winners of the sophomore and trilogy editions Enoch Nwali and Godwin Victor both went ahead to win the African Scrabble Championships and the Panasa President's Cup, respectively. And convener of the Scrabble tournament, Emmanuel Egbele, said everything needed for another remarkable show of top-quality, world-class competition will be deployed for the success of this competition at the 2-day event. So let's just take a quick listen to Emmanuel Egbele, who is the convener of the Scrabble tournament, the Egbele annual Scrabble tournament.
I would say East has been very, very instrumental. East is one of the major tournaments that is being organized on the Nigerian Scrabble Federation calendar annually. And what we have been trying to do always is to ensure that players are at their top form, ready to represent both their state and even the country. We know that in the past, we've had our winners, Enoch Nwali, as well as Godwin Victor, that have gone on to win, take medals or take the gold positions in other tournaments, you know, on the African circuit. We also have our players who, through East, have been able to also do well at their respective states, competing maybe at the sports festival as well as other tournaments that have been organized, including Luga as well as the oil industry games. So East has been very instrumental, and also we are taking this step forward, hoping that next year, where the World Scrabble Championship is going to take place in Ghana, that we hope that this platform will also enable players to also be very well prepared for such tournaments by ensuring that we have.
Well, there are those who actually ask me every time, I'm wondering, why is Scrabble a sport? And I've told them, look, if chess is a sport, then Scrabble is a sport as well. Yeah.
And the good thing is, Nigeria is probably the
Best,
#1 Scrabble playing nation in the world.
Interesting.
Yeah, we have 8 athletes in the top 20.
Wow.
We have 4 in the top 10.
Wow.
And we've produced world champions. We produce African champions. The African champion, I think, is a 400 level student of Unilag or 300 level student of Unilag.
Incredible.
So we just turn out champions in Scrabble. We are the #1 Scrabble playing nation in the world. So if you are looking for any sport that needs all the support that we can garner with tournaments like what Emmanuel Egbele is putting together, Scrabble is it.
Yeah, and it doesn't really cost much to put together, really.
Governor Akpabio,
keen Scrabble player.
a big support structure for Scrabble in Nigeria, and it still supports the sport. So it's remarkable what we can do with Scrabble, and I think we need to really do all that we can to keep ourselves at the top.
Just to reinforce what you said again, we have 8 players.
8 Nigerians.
8 Nigerian players in the top 20 in the world. 4 in the top 10.
4 in the top 10.
That's amazing.
And we produce world champions.
Yeah, I remember Wellington Jegere. There's also a Peter Moses in Akwa Ibom State. Lots of them. And at the point in time, they were around 1, 2, 3, 4. They were following themselves like that. Also, you also look at it again in National Youth Games. They've also been able to create that. The National Youth Games in Loring, Akwa Ibom won about 5 gold medals from the coach who was amongst the top 10. That's Peter Moses, who groomed these kids to do Scrabbles. So it's really fantastic.
It's a power sport, brain power sport. Helps you to build your word vocabulary. So it's good in all ways, in every way, in all ramifications. Is a sport that we should encourage in Nigeria.
Okay, well, we'll be watching very closely when that competition kicks off on the 7th of June up until the 8th of June. That's pretty much this weekend as well. Very quickly, finally on this part of the show, let's talk about some boxing. And boxing promoter Eddie Hearn has announced that Anthony Joshua will face the winner of the Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk bout, provided he defeats Daniel Dubois in their upcoming fight in September. Now, Joshua's last fight was in March, where he delivered a spectacular knockout against former UFC champion Francis Ngannou in the second round, reaffirming his dominance in the heavyweight division. And in a recent interview, Hearn emphasized that their primary focus remains on Joshua reclaiming the world heavyweight title, while the IBF could possibly strip undisputed champion Oleksandr Usyk of that strap and pass it over to this man, Daniel Dubois, who's currently interim champion. And an announcement is expected from the IBF on the 26th of June. And if that happens, Joshua is expected to face Dubois at the Wembley Stadium in September this year. And the winner will go on to face the winner of the rematch between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury. And that fight is slated for December. So it's all to fight for in the heavyweight division of the sport. If Joshua, if Dubois is elevated to full status as IBF champion, he will face Anthony Joshua in an all-British fight at Wembley. Expect a sold-out arena as well. It'll be Matchroom versus Queensberry all over again. The winner of that fight will now face the winner of the rematch between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury. Then it's undisputed phase 2 all over again. So, I'm just happy about heavyweight boxing. It's looking really good. There's Joseph Parker in the mix as well. There's some youngsters still coming through. Jared Anderson. There's Zile Zhang who is there as well. Martin Bakole. It's really looking good.
A lot of guys are coming in. Some are stepping out. Deontay Wilder.
Oh, yeah. He hasn't exactly said. He hasn't exactly called his quiz. His mother has come out and said, "Look, my son,
it's enough.
You don't try.
You've made money.
You've made money. Just go and enjoy your money.
No, don't damage your reputation.
Don't damage your reputation. And don't even damage your brain.
Your brain.
It's a tough sport. It's a tough sport.
But I like the money part of it. The box.
Of course,
I think the Saudi guys are already seeing the opportunities to make more money, and the fact that boxing fans are looking forward to having bouts year in, year out, and they've found how to crack these things. Now, imagine having to see Daniel Dubois and Joshua in September.
Dubois won his fight, his last fight.
Yeah, what?
It's
Dubois?
not even...
Dubois? Yeah, he beat Filip Hrgovic in the matchroom versus...
and then December, you're getting to see a rematch between Usyk and Tyson Fury. That means every year we're always sure of at least 2 or 3 bouts in a year. That means it's fantastic.
They say money has read all problems, and it also settles problems as well, because up until this point, we heard that Eddie Hearn and his rival at Queensberry, Frank Warren, had never met. They were not on speaking terms, but when the money hit the ground, both men shook hands, and have made money and will continue to make money. So I'm sure fans all across the world, especially fans of heavyweight boxing, are delighted because that is the division that really drives the sport, and everyone is happy about that. You're also watching Game On. We'll take a short break and return. There's plenty of football to be discussed after the break. Thank you so much for staying tuned. You're still watching Game On here on News Central Television. It's time to talk football now. And do not forget, there are FIFA World Cup qualifiers currently going on across Africa. There is a titanic encounter between Ghana and, I believe, who again?
Mali.
Mali
Ghana.
in Bamako. That match is currently tied at 1-1. And the mighty Squirrels, Le Curé of Benin, are also...
They are not known as a cheetah.
No. I like squirrels. There's something about a mighty squirrel. Yeah, I mean, a squirrel with muscles. I mean, you don't see that every day. The squirrels are currently dealing with Rwanda. They are currently leading by a lone goal. But we'll get to that in due course. But joining us now is a very interesting gentleman that has been pretty much stirring up, the football fraternity in Nigeria. He's the brains and the convener behind 54 Football X. Well, it's a platform dedicated to providing a vibrant arena for fans across Africa to enhance their engagement with the game, as well as invest in its development on the continent. Whether you're a seasoned supporter of a top-tier football club, or a fan of your local club in your area, or simply appreciate the joy that football creates, 54 Football X is looking to bring the passion out and reward football closer and bring football closer to home. With Football 54X, you can expect to find an engaging array of products and resources that will enhance your passion for the game, from new challenges and competitions to opportunities for sponsorship and talent development. 54 Football X is aiming to establish itself as a premier channel for the growth of the game across Africa. Well, joining us now is Ayababa Ikem. He is the CEO and co-founder of 54 Football X. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know you were meant to be in the studio, but hey, it's been raining cats and dogs, so I don't know where you are right now, but trust me, it was a wise decision. But thank you so much for joining us tonight, Ikem. And let's talk about 54 Football X. Why exactly did you establish? And I know I spoke a lot of English earlier on, but pretty much break it down for the average football fan. What exactly is 54 Football X?
No, thank you, Babatunde, and thank you for forgiving me for not being able to make it in the studio. I'm sure you guys understand the way Lagos is.
We do.
And good attempt at saying 54 Football X. I know a lot of people always miss the mark trying to say the full name, but I think you did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
But again, thanks for having me. So first and foremost, I'm a football fan, and I strongly believe in the potential of football and sports to be a commercially viable industry in Nigeria and across Africa, right? But the key ingredients to getting that to work, the phrase I like to use when I speak to people is, the fans are the customers of football and sports. If you're trying to run sports and football without the fans, it's the equivalent of you trying to run a business without customers. The fans are what make this industry work. And for you to be able to get those fans in to support sports and football, the product has to be right. The coverage of the game has to be right to ensure that the fans are seeing a quality product. Everybody watches the Premier League, La Liga, the Bundesliga, Ligue 1. Everybody now knows what a quality product looks like. So we can't wishy-wash our way through to try to attract the fans back. So what we are trying to do is to be that platform that does things in a quality way, right? Whether it's, for instance, we have guys in EU today, the quality of the content we're bringing, behind the scenes, like your correspondent is also doing, ensuring that fans can engage with the Super Eagles and the coaches and bring those players closer to them. That's the way you drive patronage. Over the weekend, I was at one of the festivals where we were watching Madrid, the Champions League final, Madrid versus Dortmund. And it just astounds me the level of passion people have for teams and players and, cities that are so far away that they might never go to. But the reason for that is because there's so much visibility for those teams. And until we start doing that, we will continue to import our football, right? So we need to move to a place where we are packaging our football beyond just what happens on the pitch. We need to package our football the right way to ensure that fans can connect, there's consistent patronage, and then we can then start exporting our football and sports to the world.
Okay.
And that's why we have started 54 Football League.
Okay, so if I get you correctly, you're pretty much, like it says on the screen, you're trying to bridge that gap between football and fans so that they can enjoy and experience the game in a different way. So what exactly is 54 Football X trying to do? You're not a broadcast station. You're not exactly streaming matches live, but you're providing quality content, trying to help ensure that Nigerian football fans engage with the game in a different kind of manner. So what are you doing differently from what the average platform is doing?
Okay, so there are a couple of things we've done. So as you've said, we are going behind, where we are focused up till now is going behind the scenes to bring to fans the things that they would not see on people who are streaming, and the going beyond just the 90 minutes of football, right? So what is going on behind the scenes? How do I ensure that, for instance, in the MPFL, everybody, fans in Nigeria know who the coaches of Remo Stars, Sporting Lagos, Enugu Rangers, who they are, right? That goes beyond just what is happening over a 90-minute match, right? So, bringing that connection with them, doing interviews. We've done some partnerships with some of the NPFL clubs. So Remo Stars, we're sponsoring their man of the match. After every game, there's an award, there's an interview that we put out. We've done the same thing with Ikorodu City in the Nigerian National League. Again, bringing those players closer to the fans. Who was the most outstanding player? Over every match day? In the case of Ikorodu City, is the player of the month. So who was the most outstanding player for Ikorodu City, who are now in the Nigerian National League playoffs on every single month? Who was the top player, right? These are the things that make fans connect much closer to teams beyond just what happens on match day. And obviously on match day, we also have our correspondents who go there, provide on social media the highlights of games. People can see what is going on, the interviews, the arrivals of teams. I'll give you a very classic example. At the beginning of season, if anybody told me Doma United had one of the most passionate fans in the MPFL, I'd have told you you're lying, right? Nobody, because the visibility is not there, right? But because of the work we have done, everybody now knows the sort of support that team has in Gombe State. It's incredible. And I think this is the story that we need to continue to sell to drive people to know that actually this league is working, and in certain parts of the country, there's so much passion for those teams. And it's time for other teams to sort of imbibe that when they see what is going up in Gombe, going on in Lagos. And the guys in Plateau, in Kano, Kano is another very passionate place, in Katsina, in Benue State, can then say, hang on guys, we need to step our game up.
Okay. Well, it's wonderful that you actually joining us tonight, because, of course, the guys in the studio and I, we are looking forward to what promises to be a huge game tomorrow night at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium, where the Super Eagles face Old Foes, the Bafana of South Africa. But there are also matches currently being played across Africa tonight and the FIFA World Cup qualifying series across Africa. Let's quickly bring you up to speed regarding those matches that have currently been played all across Africa. There you go. On your screen, it is Guinea-Bissau and Ethiopia playing out a goalless draw. Egypt also currently playing out a goalless draw with Burkina Faso.
2-0 up at Egypt are
2-0 up. Oh, yeah, Favor, I think you have the latest scores. You want to help us out with that?
All right, Egypt are 2-1 now. It's currently 2-1.
Okay.
But for Burkina Faso, yes, they've been able to pull one back. So, but currently, keenly contested game right there, of course, the Egypt. And not forgetting Guinea-Bissau playing out a goalless draw. And then the game between Mali and Ghana is currently 1-1.
1-1, okay.
Ghana did equalize some minutes ago, and of course, Mauritania lost to. They're currently losing to Sudan 2-0. Senegal.
I think that game is actually done, I think. But Senegal, yeah? You were talking about Senegal?
Yes, Senegal currently leading 1-0 against DR Congo. And in the group of C, which has, of course, Benin Republic and Rwanda, it is Genotro's Benin Republic leading 1-0.
The mighty
against,
Squirrels.
Yeah. against Rwanda, and that's of course a major task for Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Well, what about the other scorelines? I think that Libya also playing Mauritius, Algeria versus Guinea. You want to tell us about those ones as well?
Yeah, it's full time. Libya leading 2-1 against Mauritius. That's a win for Libya.
Okay, so that's the results of matches played across Africa. But here in Nigeria, the South Africa men's national football team, the Bafana, are now in Uyo. Of course, that is the venue of tomorrow's night's massive encounter between the Super Eagles of Nigeria. It's a Group C World Cup qualifier. And according to the South Africans, they claim that their trip had been unnecessarily elongated and it had taken them nearly 24 hours to get to their destination. But the Nigeria Football Federation has countered the claim, insisting that the South Africa delegation had no reason to cry foul. They didn't tell them that they were coming to Port Harcourt, blah, blah, blah. But our correspondent, Onyinye Obaro, she caught up with NFF President Ibrahim Gusau earlier today, and he actually cleared the air regarding that, and also regarding the absence of Daniel Dubois from the team. And also, she was also at the press conference, the pre-match press conference that was held by the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Bafana of South Africa. Let's quickly take a listen to those videos.
Well, I don't understand what you mean by completion about the squad. As far as I'm concerned, I know we have a complete squad. Don't forget, Nigeria is a very big country that has a lot of talent everywhere in the world. So as far as we are concerned, we have a complete squad right here in Uyo as I'm talking to you. And by the grace of God, we are ready to face the challenge tomorrow. And I want to use this medium to assure Nigerians that by the grace of God, we are going to come out victorious tomorrow. Nobody slept at the airport, so you should verify your story. Their aircraft landed in Port Harcourt for them to go through immigration process. You know, Uyo airport is not an international airport yet. So after their immigration process, it was late in the night. There was no way they can fly to Uyo because there are some repairs going on, which every airline company is aware of. And then basically we try to make sure that we give them a comfortable place to put off the night. And today by 9 a.m. we took them back to the airport and they were now in Uyo. So everything is fine. Nobody slept at the airport. Thank you very much.
I think that strike, the strike affected just 2 players. I think Iwobi and three players, Maduka, Iwobi and Lukman. For the rest, I think everybody, got a bit of the training we program for them, so I don't think that will be a problem. I would say, AFCON is gone. We all saw the game. We knew it was a difficult one, but at the end of the day, we won it. So that is important. This is a World Cup qualifier. I think we're going to play definitely differently in tomorrow's match. So the AFCON
ready for this game, surely, otherwise you shouldn't be. Secondly, we all know that Nigeria is a very good team. Played against them in AFCON. But as I remember, I think that result could be the opposite from what it was. We could have been in the final. So that means that both teams are maybe even good. I know also that the pressure is a little bit on Nigeria because you have to win the game when you play qualifiers for World Cup of AFCON. You can't lose points at home. So the pressure is a little bit on them.
Well, that was the president of the Nigeria Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusau, speaking about the arrival of the South Africans, saying that they did not sleep in the airports. Also, I think he also mentioned about the non-appearance of Daniel Dubois. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. But you also heard the Super Eagles manager, George Finidi, was speaking ahead of that game. And also Hugo Bruce as well, speaking ahead of that match as well. But Onyinye Obaro joins us from Uyo now to give us updates from Uyo. Yeah, you are. Hello, Oye. I know you've had a very, very long day trying to cover the Super Eagles of Nigeria. There's Toyin Bitoye in the studio as well. There's also Favor Otua. And we also have Ayam Baba Ikem also joining us as well. So, Oye, please tell us from what you saw so far, the South Africans, do they look worse for wear regarding their travel? Are they looking confident ahead of tomorrow's game?
Thank you so much, Tunde. It's so great to join, a party of great minds right now on News Central. Yes, I did follow up with the press conference from the Super Eagles of Nigeria at the time that was stipulated for the press conference at 5:30. We all were in the stadium, the Gospel Akpabio International Stadium. The South Africans were very, very, very intentional about the time. They wanted to get it done with, the press conference done with, and then have their own training, which they had behind closed doors. They made sure that every single journalist left the stadium for them so that they can have their final tactics before the match day for tomorrow. The South Africans began the press conference first with Coach Hugo Broos, in company with the captain of the side, Pesitao. Coach Hugo Broos he was asked some questions, and he downplayed any problems coming from that travel.
Hello? Yeah, we can hear you. You can go ahead. Hello?
Oh, thank you. Okay. All right. He downplayed any problems coming from the travel hitches and all. And you could hear from the NFF president, who also debunked the stories making the rounds that the South Africans had passed the night at the Port Harcourt airport. Yes, great one. We were able to get there. But Coach Hugo Broos also said that whatever happened in AFCON would stay in AFCON. This is the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. So business will be focused for that team that will be coming up with Group C for the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. So for the Nigerian team, we had the likes of the coach, accompanied by Wilfred Ndidi and Kelechi Iheanacho. Confidence coming from Kelechi Iheanacho that they will be able to pick that ticket. And the coach saying he downplayed the fact that the NLC strike affected the team. He only said Alex Iwobi and Ademola Lookman were the late arrivals in camp, and they have been inculcated into the team plan.
Okay. Well, Tony, I think you have a question for her.
Yeah, well, how are you guys building up to that game tomorrow? You know, it's a very unusual time, 8 p.m. For a game in Nigeria. So what's the preparation? What's the plan for that game at 8 p.m.? You know, it takes a whole lot. The game will probably end about 10 p.m. You have to consider the security of those who will come to watch. So how prepared are we for an unusual kickoff time?
For me, I'm totally going to guard my lungs here. I know that it's an odd hour, 8 p.m. is an odd hour, but we had a conversation with a member of the board of the Football Association of Akwa Ibom who says that we shouldn't mind the 8 p.m. because the Gospel Akpabio International Stadium is capable to host that the match at that time. The floodlights are in good condition, the stadium in good condition, and there will be no problem hosting the match at 8 p.m. He had given a pass back to the Gospel Akpabio International Stadium, but I will be guiding my lungs, making sure that I'm able to get all that I can at that odd hour. You know, it's a rush hour. A lot of fans are already picking up their tickets as we speak right now, making sure they do not want to miss that crucial encounter by the Super Eagles against the South Africans.
Yeah. Okay.
So all hands will be on deck for that 8 p.m. kickoff time.
Okay.
All right, Onyechi, great job so far. I mean, you've been able to watch the training sessions of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We don't have Tris Ekong, no Victor Osimhen. You, by chance, have an idea of what the starting 11 will look like tomorrow?
Of course, that will be in the hands of the coach of the side. But if I'm to look at the training so far, I would say from the back line, we can say Stanley Nwabili will surely be in the starting lineup. He made it early to camp away from the likes of Maduka Okoye, who is returning to the Super Eagles fold. Yes, we saw his stellar performance at the African Cup of Nations, so he should be able to man the six against the South Africans, being the fact that he also plies the straight in the South African PSL. We have confidence that maybe Coach Finidi George might give a chance to Benjamin Tanimo and also Shemi Ajayi to also pair from the centre-backs. We've got the likes of Calvin Bassey, who was also fantastic at the African Cup of Nations. And maybe get to pair the likes of the Enugu Rangers guy, Kenneth Igboke, also at the back. In the midfield, sure, Wilfred Ndidi returns after that injury layoff at the African Cup of Nations. We have also Frank Onyeka, the machine, of course, in the middle. The pairing will not be bad for Coach Finidi George, of course. Not forgetting if we have Kelechi Iheanacho deputizing to play deep, of course, for the likes of Wilfred Ndidi and Frank Onyeka. Up front, Victor Boniface is back. Ademola Lookman, who is the starman for the Europa League, is also an arsenal for Nigeria. Samuel Chukwueze should be able to fill in the spot of Moses Simon, who is not present here, recuperating from an injury he picked up, of course, from the league in the French Ligue 1. So these are the options, and we're hoping that Finidi George can be able to put these options to work when we see that starting lineup when he releases tomorrow, which I'm going to give you the scoop and the updates here all live from Uyo tomorrow.
Okay, Onyinye Obaru, thank you so much for your time. I know you've had a really, really long day. I think you should get some rest because probably promises to be an even longer day tomorrow as well. Thank you so much for your time. We still have Ayababa Ikem joining us here in Lagos. Ayababa, of course, I'm sure you've been keeping a close eye on that game. You probably have people designated to cover it for 54 Football X as well. It promises to be a really tough game. The last time we played South Africa, we needed penalties in order to separate ourselves. The last time that they played in Uyo in 2019, they walked away with a 2-0 win. Just how tricky is this game, considering the fact that Nigeria is currently third in the group, no wins after the first two games against Benin Republic and Rwanda. If we slip up, is this the end?
Well, look, I'm super excited about the game. Each time we play South Africa, the energy, the rivalry, the banter is always next level. So I'm completely looking forward to the game. And I'm an advocate for the late game. There's something about playing football late at night, 8 p.m., that just brings up the excitement. And I think it's the right steps. Football under lights is beautiful. So I'm hoping that we can have more stadiums across the country like we have in Uyo that are able to do this. But coming back to the game, I think, for the first time in a very long time, I'm really excited about, the quality of the players we have in our team. Like we now have guys who are now, performing at the highest level of football. I mean, you saw Ademola Lookman in the Europa League final. You saw Victor Boniface and Nathan Teller in Germany doing so well. You have Kelechi Iheanacho and Wilfred Ndidi, who have just gotten promoted back to the English Premier League. So I think we are stocked up with these players, right? And it's just a question of how do we make these guys gel into a team. I'm really excited to see Finidi's first starting lineup. I had an idea in my mind, but with
just hold your thought. I'm going to ask you for your own starting 11 as well. But I nearly have to get to Twain very quickly. Of course, I have no problems with an 8 p.m. kickoff. I think it's fantastic. I think
absolutely.
The reasons we didn't have it in the past was because we had challenges regarding electricity supply. 8 p.m. is really great.
Those are the challenges.
But look at what is happening at the Lekon Salami Stadium in Ibadan now. Shooting Stars play their games at night, and it's a packed house.
Night football is always exciting to watch.
But my problem is there's a 90, according to the weather forecast, there's a 90% chance of rain tomorrow on Uyo. If the heavens open up, God forbid, that turns the game into an equalizer. So no team can really display on a waterlogged pitch or on under rainy conditions.
Even if there was no rain, the Gosis Akpabio Stadium is an equalizer any day.
Because the turf is that good.
It's a lush green pitch where if you want to play football, you play football. So there's no home or away on that pitch. It's a lovely playing turf. So rain or no rain, we have to go out there, give our best to win. And I want to urge the fans tomorrow to go out there to support the Super Eagles of Nigeria. If the goals do not come early, be patient, keep supporting until the goals come. Okay.
Favour, very quickly, your starting 11 and scoreline for tomorrow.
All right, a quick one. Goalkeeper Stanley Wabeli starts in goal. In defense, we have Semi Ajayi and of course, Tanimu. Right back, we have Bright Osai Samuel. Left back, we'll go straight with Calvin Bassey, who will go back to the left position. In the midfield, we have Wilfred Ndidi. We'll also have an Alex Iwobi and a Kelechi Iheanacho in the midfield. On the right-hand side, Iheanacho deputized as the number 8. Okay. Then the striking role, Victor Boniface. On the right, we'll have a Samuel Chukwueze. On the left, we'll have Ademola Lookman.
Well, Tony?
My starting lineup, well, Nwabali. I'm sure that Nwabali is going to be playing tomorrow. Femi Ajayi will be playing. Calvin will be playing. Ndidi will be the captain in the absence of Fomero and Ekong and Musa. And I know Ademola Lookman will be there. Whether Terry Murphy,
Victor Boniface,
whoever gets to play, I'll just be supporting and wishing that the team will go out there and win.
Okay, I know we are out of time now, but I just really ask you, is possible scoreline for you, hopefully? What does your mind tell and what does your heart tell you?
I see Nigeria winning 2-0.
Amen. Amen to that. That's the scoreline I will definitely take. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We would have loved to have you in the studio. Hopefully, you can get here some other time, and hopefully, your prediction comes true. We will be praying that it does. And thanks to the guys in the studio, of course, Favour Eto'o, our very own, and of course, the legendary Tony Bitoye as well. And to the guys behind the studio, behind the scene who made this possible, Onyinye Obara as well. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Uyo. But before we go, let's tell you about a remarkable, possibly miraculous event that happened in Europe recently. So last month in the Hungarian Under-14 League leaders Miklosi Gife were virtually guaranteed of the status of champions because the second-place team in the competition, a team called Keregezai, needed to win by 42 goals to overcome the goal difference and overtake them. Well, in the most outrageous of outcomes, Keregezai defeated their opponent Palmo Nostra by 43 goals to 1. They basically scored 1/3 of the entire goals that they had scored all season in a single match. Anyway, the Hungarian Football Federation has started an investigation into match fixing and other malpractices. So, what I can say is that malpractice is not limited to one region. It's pretty much spread all over the world. My name is Babatunde Koiki, wishing you a wonderful night and hoping that the Super Eagles can do us proud tomorrow night in Uyo. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.